Welcome to Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by FantasyGuru.com. Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific. Ray Flowers breaks it all down for you from a fantasy sports perspective.
Good morning. Welcome to Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by FantasyGuru.com. I'm your host, Ray Flowers. How's it going? Doing okay? I know a lot of our users over at FG are hot and heavy into the Dynasty League drafting, answering a ton of questions over at FG in the Discord. So if that's one of you, hopefully things are going well as you start your foray into the football season in 2025. We'll talk to Armando Marsal here in about 25, 30 minutes. We'll talk some football with him. And as you can see there on the screen, that's the plan for the day. Biggest surprise of the draft, best draft, worst draft pick, best player fit, worst player fit. Favorite running back landing spot, favorite wide receiver landing spot. We'll have a discussion with Armando Marsal about how the draft played out just a couple days ago in the NFL. Before that, we'll spend about 25 or 30 minutes talking baseball. We got a lot of updates on the Hill, a lot of them not good. And, further questioning, throwing question into, I guess, the idea of drafting pitching early. We'll talk about it a little bit. We'll talk about some reviews of some youngsters, talk about some guys that are starting to get hot that we highlighted on the show. We'll talk about a pitcher that had an out-of-nowhere performance yesterday for the Orioles. So stay tuned for that discussion here in the next couple of minutes. Again, I'm Ray Flowers. You can follow me on Twitter, X, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, all those places at the Ray Flowers. You can find me in Discord answering questions all day long over at FantasyGuru.com. Click on that link in the top right corner of the page. Right up there, it says subscribe and get signed up. And we've got all the products rocking and rolling right now. We're still covering hockey. We're still covering basketball in the playoffs. We've got MMA, PGA, NASCAR, horse racing, football and baseball, obviously rocking and rolling right now. And just because the baseball season started doesn't mean you can't get involved. Remember that. You can sign up right now for the season-long baseball product, for the wagering baseball product, for the DFS baseball product. You can do that at any time. You can always send a note to support at FantasyGuru.com, support at FantasyGuru.com to try to work that out. I bit my tongue yesterday. Oddly enough, on occasion, I bite my tongue while I'm sleeping. Like, I don't know what it is, but sometimes I just bite my tongue. I bit my tongue yesterday, so I sound a little funny. That's the reason. I'm trying to play through the injury. Biting a tongue is not a good thing for someone who has to talk for a living. But anyway, we're playing through that. I don't know. We'll see what goes on with the tongue. It should be fine. But hopefully you'll join us over at FG. Again, we've got Dynasty rankings available. They've been updated by Russell Clay. We've got Jeff Mann's rankings up for the rookies. We've got the seasonal rankings up. All this stuff for fantasy football is already locked in. And if you've been listening to Jeff's show on SiriusXM, you know just how locked in he is with all of this information. Jeff's show is 3 o'clock Eastern, Monday through Friday, Elite Sports Game Time on SiriusXM. Justin Fensterman and I are on Elite Sports Game Time. Did I say Elite? Jeff show's Elite Sports. My show is Elite Sports Game Time with Justin. We're on 8 to 10 Monday through Friday. So we're here at 12 o'clock Eastern on this show for free. Then 2 shows you got to pay for over at SiriusXM. 3 o'clock, the Elite Sports Show with Jeff Mans. 8 to 10 with myself and Justin Fensterman on Elite Sports Game Time. So check us out later today. For those of you looking for more baseball talk, as I keep saying here on the show, Justin and I spend about an hour and a half of the 2 hours every night talking baseball. So check it out over on the site. Or I guess on your app, on your phone. I would say on your radio, but does anyone even have radios anymore? Yeah, I know we all do in our cars, but everyone, do you use your radio or do you plug your phone in? Interesting. I guess most people use a radio. But anyway, let's talk some pitching here. And, the Dodgers, let's go through the Dodgers situation. We've talked about a lot here on the show. We talked about the potential of, winning 110 games. We talked about the potential of winning the World Series. We talked about this great collection of talent. And we've also talked about the fact that they've got injuries. And as of right now, as I'm speaking to you, they have 13 pitchers on the injured list. 13. Why is that? Well, let's get into it. Blake Snell, who's out with the shoulder issue, received an anti-inflammatory injection. I didn't see I assume it was cortisone. I didn't see. I got one of those recently, so I know all about that. Helped me out a little bit, but again, I'm typing on the keyboard. I'm not pitching. We don't have a timetable for Snell to return, and the longer this goes without him being active, obviously the longer the return period is because he starts losing the pitch count he's built up, he starts losing the arm strength, et cetera, et cetera. Just to reiterate and hit a point we had before, Snell's thrown 130 innings twice in his career. he'll be through a decade of his career and the number will be 2. He's not throwing 130 innings this year. It's not. So anyone that spent a top 20 pick on Snell, and that's where his ADP said he was going to go, you've lost. The hope is that he can come back and have a dominant second half and at least pay off in that respect. But at this point, at this point in time, since he's been shut down, he's getting cortisone shots. We don't have any idea. I mean, it might be June in a best case scenario. I mean, I think we have to give strong consideration as we sit here today that May's gone for Blake Snell, which means maybe June. And again, if any kind of setback or any kind of delay, we might be looking at after the All-Star break with Blake Snell. Now that's tough. Tough news as well for his teammate, Tyler Glasno. Glasnow's ADP, I think, was inside the top 25, so a little bit lower than Snell, but drafted as an SP2 all across the land. Not good here. And this is, the Dodgers have all these other guys. They'll have Tony Gonsolin. Tony Gonsolin's actually getting called up. He'll be in the rotation tomorrow on Wednesday for the Dodgers. He's the next guy up. Kershaw's about a month away. Right? They've got pieces here that are coming back. But we don't know when Blake Snell's going to be back. We don't know when Tyler Glasnow's going to be back. Now, Tyler Glasnow, they've run testing and everything, and according to what we're hearing from the team, the shoulder issue that he's dealing with that currently is sending him to the injury list is not a structural scenario. So this is not surgery or anything like that. That's what we're being told. Okay, let's accept that. What's going on here? Here's kind of, reading between the lines and reading articles about this. Basically, what I think we've got going is Tyler Glasnow knows what he's been doing doesn't work. So he's trying to find a new way to do it, and the new way is not working either. Okay. He said, it's Glasnow. And remember, Glasnow, skill-wise, tremendous, but this guy makes a lot of excuses. Remember when the spider tap was outlawed and he claimed that's why he hurt his arm? Because he had to grip the ball tighter? Okay. Glasnow says that he's made changes to his delivery smartly because he keeps having elbow issues. Okay. Problem is he's made these changes and now his shoulder is barking. Not ideal. Now, Glasnow is 6'7", 6'8", long levers and all that kind of stuff. He's only thrown 130 innings one single time in his career, and that was last season, the 134. He is less durable than Blake Snell, if that's even a thing. So he said the issue in his shoulder is kind of coming and going. So it's not a persistent problem, but it's a problem. Here's what he said. Here's some quotes from Glasnow. I'm obsessed with trying to figure out what's going on. And it's been like this for a few years, and I'm trying to find a way to stay healthy. And I'll try to do whatever. I just don't really have an answer right now. And I think that's the most frustrating thing. It's not a lack of trying. It's just kind of just getting exhausting at this point. So he's been trying to figure this out for a while, and he can't figure it out. Now, here's what manager Dave Roberts said as he was having the discussion with the press. Quote, "This is going to be a tricky one as far as the timeline," unquote. So Glasnow's not coming back in 15 days. That sounds like a shock. We're also hearing he's going on the injured list with overall body soreness. I don't even know what that means. I mean, at this point, I'm hopefully he doesn't have lupus or something and I'm not trying to say, I'm hoping that there's not something wrong with him, because a pro athlete shouldn't be having overall body soreness, especially in April. It's not like he's pitched out there for 180 innings and he's just tired out. I don't know what's going on with Glasnow. He's frustrated. The team is frustrated. There's no real quote unquote injury at the moment. Again, shoulder tenderness. Okay. Keep in mind here that this now is sending him to the injury list with shoulder. Last year, he was on the injury list once with the back and the elbow. Then 2023, he was on the injury list with an oblique issue. In 2022 and 21, he was missing the season because of the elbow surgery. He's had forearm stints on the injury list. He just keeps breaking down. So again, Tony Gonsolin enters the rotation for now for the Dodgers. He's a moderate pickup. If he's right, he is, a streaming option back of the rotation. He had a great season a couple years ago with his insane ratios. Don't expect a repeat of that. That's not fair to expect from him. Can he take the ball and go 5 or 6 innings and be effective? Yes. Should obviously get ample run support from the Dodgers. But the Dodgers, they have all this depth on the hill, and we all kind of said to ourselves, what are they doing? It's April, and they already need it. It's pretty shocking. So they all, of course, remember the Dodgers just want to win the World Series. So they're not rushing Blake Snell back. They're not rushing Tyler Glasnow back. Part of the issue if you drafted any of the Dodgers pitchers. Cole Ragans, who was also drafted as an SP1. Not a good day for pitchers. Not a good 24-hour period of time here for pitchers, especially top-end arms. Cole Ragans is out with the groin issue. He's still theoretically on pace to pitch tomorrow. We don't know if that's going to happen. They ran an MRI. Apparently, very mild groin strain. We've talked about that on the show here. I'd be very surprised if he starts tomorrow. I think a best case scenario is him skipping the start tomorrow. I think he could still end up on the injured list for a shorter period of time. The good news, again, is that they are not seeing anything significant with the groin issue, but it's a groin issue. I just really struggle to think that Ragans is going to pitch tomorrow. And if he does, I'm not starting him with confidence at all, because it could be an inning in the third and they pull him out of this game. So this week we're off. We're very cold on Cole Ragans. Let's hope that this is a minor issue, that the reporting we're getting right now is accurate. We'll see. And again, top end pitcher dealing with some things. Let's talk about a few hitters here. Tyler Soderstrom yesterday. I just wanted to check in because there was all this talk about Nick Kurtz, who we'll talk about in a second. With Soderstrom, and we keep all saying that, look, this isn't going to continue, and it's not. But he had a 2-run double yesterday, and his OPS is 940, and he's got 24 RBIs in 29 games. And he just continues to hit. And it's been a fantastic start to the season. Remember, though, he's only played 4 games in the outfield. So maybe he plays 20 games this year in the outfield. We'll see how that rotation goes. Maybe. He's already played the 20 games at first base. Hasn't played a single game at catcher. So that hope of him picking up catcher eligibility is basically dead at this point. As I've said all along, if he was a catcher, he's a catcher 1. As a first baseman, at this point, with the start of 9 home runs, 24 RBIs in 29 games, like I used to say 20-80 for him this season, 20 home runs, 80 RBIs was kind of what I was hoping for. I think now we got to go 30-90. I mean, that's where we're at right now. And, this is looking like a potential season, much like Spencer Torkelson had a couple of years ago when he went, 30, 85, 85. We're looking at something like that. And, with Soderstrom, with his batted ball data being so impressive, and more importantly, his ability to make contact, his strikeout rate is about 22% right now, which is just slightly better than the league average. If he continues to hit the ball as hard as he is right now and keeps making contact at this level, he's not going to hit 233 like Spencer Torkelson. He might hit 263 or 273. I think it's still smart to look at him and think, 250-ish, 260 kind of hitter for the season. He's in 290 right now. So I would expect the batting average to pull back, but his start has been terrific. The batted ball data is fantastic. There is a 26% home run to fly ball ratio that obviously will regress, but he's got 9 home runs in a month. 9 home runs in a month, 6-month season, 54 home runs. That's the pace. So if we say 30 right now, we're obviously greatly reducing that. He's been terrific. And anyone that picked him up, because I know no one drafted him. I drafted him in the league, but I know none of you did because your leagues are shallower than that. You're getting a payoff, and it's a huge payoff right now. And again, he might have dual position eligibility, even though one of those positions will not be catcher. A Nick Kurtz check-in. Way too early to do this to Nick Kurtz. It's been 5 games, 17 plate appearances. Useless, but we're doing it anyway because that's what we do here on the show. It's 5 games, so we're not taking anything away from this, really. But through 5 games, he has 0 walks. It's not good. And he's got 7 strikeouts and 17 plate appearances, which is a 41% strikeout rate, which is really not good. Either one of these numbers, it's 5 games, who cares? But we have to keep a close eye on this. Coming up through the minors, and again, when I say through the minors, what did he play in the minors? 30 games? 32 games. 32 games in the minors. His profile is such that he should be walking 12, 13, 14%. He should be one of the better walk guys in baseball. His strikeout rate, let's call it league average. So if he's excelling in the walk rate and keeping it league average in the contact rate, that's why we can start to get really excited about him. To date, we haven't seen that guy. It's been 17 plate appearances. Let's not get crazy or over the top, reactionary at all. On his 10 batted balls, 93 mile an hour exit velocity is really good. 40% hard hit rate, doesn't have a barrel yet. So it hasn't all come together for him yet. Again, he hasn't only hit the ball 10 times thus far. But, there's no reason to think that the A's aren't continuing to play him every day. He's played first base every game. So far, it's working. Rooker hasn't gotten hurt. Soderstrom's been able to handle it. I commend the A's for going for it here because, as we talked about, this was a risk to put Rooker in the outfield. It just is a risk at his age, given his slow start to the season. But they wanted to give Kurtz a shot, and so they're giving it. So here we go, and we'll see how it goes. We'll check back in probably next week on Nick Kurtz, and we get a little bit more data and start to get a little bit better feeling on Nick Kurtz. John G says, by the way, morning, Ray, Nick Lodolo fan club forming soon. Yeah, as I famously stated on the show and then over in Discord at FG, I'm no longer answering Nick Lodolo questions. I don't know why so many of you wanted to drop or trade him when he was my breakout pitcher of the year. I don't know. So start that fan club, John. There'll be a really heavy bandwagon. But know that you and the people here are watching the show who were told to draft Nick Lodolo and lean on Nick Lodolo 2 months ago, you're ahead of the game. You're the leaders of the train. You're not the hopper honors at the end. You got a nice seat. You're not the person grabbing the back of the train trying to hold on. John says you got him in every league. Let's go. Let's hope he continues to pitch well at home. That's going to be that's the real hurdle to get over, that and the uptick in the strikeout rate, though we did see that last time out. Pitching at Cincy's the real big factor for him, as well as obviously staying healthy. Riley Greene, who I want to say we talked about on this show, right? I definitely know I talked about him in Discord over at FG. And the question was, Riley Greene's available for trade. Should we go get him? And I said, immediately go get him. And then he went out last night, a couple hours after I gave that advice, and hit 2 home runs. So hopefully the trade was completed before the 2 home runs last night, because you know how this goes. The price then goes up. It's now 3 home runs in 4 games for Riley Greene. And while it's been uneven and disappointing to start, no way around that. Okay, there's just no way around that. We're still on a pace for him with those 2 home runs last night. And this is how quickly things can change. We're just talking about Nick Kurtz. 3 days ago, Riley Greene, now you know what Riley Greene's on pace for? He's on pace to hit 30 home runs with 90 RBIs. There you go, folks. So Riley Greene's got nowhere to go but up. The strikeout rate has drastically improved since we talked about him in this show when I said it was 40%. And we had the question about, is there a problem or whatever? We talked about that in the recent past. Starting to make better contact, starting to drive the baseball. Kerry Carpenter with the home run last night, too. Hopefully you held Riley Greene and stood fast with him. I have him on a couple of teams. I didn't consider trading him at all. Certainly didn't consider dropping him. Hopefully you were in that same boat. Or if someone in your league did rage drop him or panic trade him, you took advantage of that. Because Riley Greene's going to be just fine. It's one of the better young hitters in baseball. He's not a superstar. This start makes it very unlikely he'll be a superstar this year. But if he hit 25 to 30 home runs, drove in 90 runs, hit 270 this year, I'm not going to be surprised by that, even with this slow start. Jose Altuve, let's move over to the Astros. Jose Altuve hit a 2-run home run yesterday, had 3 RBIs. So a good effort for him. He's been a little bit slow to start the year, but he'll be fine. No concerns with him. The interesting thing is that the change in the batting order for the Astros, they dropped Altuve to second and they elevated Jeremy Pena to first. Apparently it was Altuve's idea to try this. Long term, I'm not against them dropping Altuve to second at all. I have no problem with that. Put Ordeon Alvarez third. Totally fine with that. My concern is that Jeremy Pena is basically league average to slightly below league average against right-handed pitching. He really excels against lefties, but against righties, he's just a guy. And overall, he's not a guy that gets on base a ton. And this is a problem a lot of teams run into. It's like, you want to get your best guys, Altuve and Alvarez, as many at-bats as possible. So you want to put them at the top of the order. No longer did you put your best guys 3 and 4. Most teams now put their best guys 2 and 3, right? You want to get those extra plate appearances for those guys, but you also want to have someone ahead of them getting on base. And that's just not really Pena's game. And again, in a different era, 25 years ago, he put the youngster Pena, the leadoff spot. We're feeling good. I mean, even with Pena's decent start to the season, his on-base percentage is 333. His career mark is 309. I believe the league average last year was 312. So for his career, he's not even league average at getting on base. He shouldn't be hitting leadoff. So we'll see if this continues, regardless of what I just said. If Pena's hitting leadoff, wow, does this improve his outlook? Because now he does have Alvarez, or Altuve and Alvarez, hitting right behind him. He's going to score 100 runs. He plays every day. And you look at his background last couple of years, 150, 157 games. So this is a huge move if it sticks for Jeremy Pena. His arrow is pointing upward with this decision if that again stays. Jordan Westburg, was placed on the injured list yesterday with the left hamstring strain by the Orioles. They also put Gary Sanchez on the injured list, and I think they moved Grayson Rodriguez to the 60-day list. It was just a bad day for the Orioles. The good news is at this point in time, we haven't heard a blowout scenario with Westburg. We haven't heard this is going to take 6 weeks or anything like that to come back from his hamstring strain. Same time, we don't have a definitive here, and the Orioles season is not teetering on the edge, but it's been a bad start. There's a lot of negative vibes around this team. Going back to the end of last season, they didn't finish on a high note last year in the regular season either. They started out slowly this season. A lot of the guys on the offensive side of things in particular have kind of been wonky. And Westburg is not out. Ramon Urias probably steps into the lineup on a pretty consistent basis for the Orioles. He's not a bad little player, but he's nowhere near the offensive piece that Westburg is. This is not a replacement. You don't just go from one Oriole to the other. If you lost Westburg, that's not going to work. You're going to have to make a move somewhere here to try to bolster your offense until Westburg is indeed back, because it's just not happening right. Too bad, too, because his last 7 games, he was hitting over 300, so he's finally starting to find his swing. But Westburg's going to miss some time. We'll just hope it's not an extended period of time. You have Brendan Nimmo on your team? And if you do, raise your hand if he was active in your lineup yesterday. I'm just doing that for sake of, I don't have him on any of my teams this year. Do you? I mentioned this last night on the Elite Sports Game Time show, again, 8 to 10 Eastern on Sirius XM. I bet a lot of you have Nimmo on your team, and you didn't have him active last night. Hasn't been very good this season. Totally understand why you wouldn't necessarily have him active. 2 home runs last night, 4 hits last night, 9 RBIs last night. Tying the Mets record for RBIs set by Carlos Sugano back in 2008. And this is one of the problems we run into with players a lot. And I always encourage people at the end of the season to do the following. Look at the player that you have, like Brandon Nimmo, right? Oh, Brandon Nimmo was really good this season. You know, he had a career high 91 RBIs. He had 90 last year. He had a career high 91 RBIs. And then you go and look, and you see the days you had him active, you only had 75 RBIs for him. And let's say Brandon Nimmo hits, 258 this year. And you look at the days you had him active, and he only hit 243 for you. How many times does the mixing and matching, trying to game the system, trying to play the market, how many times does that actually equate to you getting all the numbers versus what you would have gotten if you just played the guy every day? This also happens a lot with players that get injured, depending on your league is set up. You could have a player that's on the injured list, comes off the injured list on a Thursday, but you can't activate him until the next week. So he plays Thursday, Friday, takes Saturday off, plays Sunday. He plays 3 games, and in those 3 games, he has 3 home runs and 7 RBIs. At the end of the season, he hit 30 home runs with 90 RBIs for me, and you check, and it was 27 home runs, and it was actually only 82 RBIs. So it's always make sure you do that at the end of the season. You go and you look kind of how you manage the team throughout the year and what did you actually get from the players themselves. In the case of Nimmo, obviously he was going to be better than he was to start the year. The big issue for him right now is that he's not walking. You can't look at his track record, which is a double-digit walk rate every year of his career back to 2017, and think that the current 6% rate is going to hold. You just can't. You can't. Batting average is going to come up a little bit. The on-base percentage is going to go way up. Yesterday's probably the kickstart in the pants to get that thing going, but great effort. I don't think anyone played him in DFS. I don't think anyone was chomping at the bit to play him yesterday in seasonal, but 4 hits, 2 home runs, 9 RBIs, a huge day for him. Teammate Mark Vientos went 2 or 3 with the home run. He's actually scored 4 runs. The Mets had, 19 runs yesterday. Vientos had a 3-run home run, had a couple of walks. He's hitting 320 the last 13 games. We talked about Vientos on the show here before, written about him over at the website as well. This is an example of a player that had a lot of good things going for him underneath the hood. You had to look under the hood, though, right? And if you're just looking at the surface numbers, surface numbers still are bad. He's hitting 219 with 3 home runs in 26 games. That's not good. We're not out of the woods yet. But again, he's hitting 320 the last couple of weeks. His walk rate of 11% is really good. It's 50% better than it was last year. His strikeout rate of 20% is really good. Remember, he's at 30% the last 2 years. These are significant steps forward. Significant steps forward. You look at the batted ball data, and it's moderate to poor. So we still have work to do with Vientos. But he shouldn't be on the waiver wire, and I think that we're starting to see the bat finally wake up for him. And the good news is, as we are well aware at this point, he's in the lineup every day for the Mets. A couple of pitchers to talk about before we talk some football with Armando Marsal. Bailey Ober. Let's pull up Bailey Ober real quickly. I want to say his velocity is still down. And so we've been tracking Bailey Ober's velocity chart since before the season began. Okay, let's see. Velocity. Learn how to use the website, Ray. Pitch velocity. Okay. So 2022, he's at 91.5 on his velocity. Then it was 91.3. Last year was 91.7. This year he's at 90.6. So he's definitely down on his fastball velocity. His curveball peaked at 77 miles an hour. This year it's 75. So his velocity is still down. Is it a death blow? It's not a death blow. And yesterday against the Guardians, allowed 1 run over 7 2/3 innings, pitched really well. He gave 8 runs in his first start. In the 5 starts since then, he's allowed 7 runs. So his ERA is still in the 4s, but he, since that first start, has been terrific. And he's somebody that we've talked about here on the show and Discord over at FG. Remember, click that subscribe tab in the top right corner to get signed up. He's one of those quality start guys. He frequently goes 6 innings and keeps the Twins in the game by allowing 3 or fewer runs. Continuing to watch the velocity, still don't love where he's at. At this point in time, it's starting to get a little concerning in terms of it ever coming back. Maybe this is just a new reality for him. And again, this goes all the way back to spring training. Can he be effective at this point? Obviously, we're seeing him be effective at this point. However, the days of big strikeout totals will become less frequent. The days of continual dominance outing to outing will become less frequent if he does indeed not regain that velocity. But he's nicely locked in right now, pitching very well. And for now, at least, the concerns we're talking about aren't showing themselves on the field. They'll keep it in the back of your mind. If someone comes at you with a fair trade offer for Ober, you might consider paying more attention to it than you would have if you just looked at the results of the last 5 outings. Emilio Pagan is the closer for the Reds. Not a news flash there. Alexis Diaz questions keep coming up, and I'll basically say it this way. In a solds league, there's really no reason to keep Alexis Diaz at this point. In a saves league, it depends. I would say for the majority of people, if you have Alexis Diaz on your roster, the majority of people can drop him. When I say majority of people, 80+% of people that have Alexis Diaz can drop him. Might even be higher. Might even be 90% of people. You might need to be in a 15-team mixed league or an NL-only league to really hold on to Diaz at this point. The reason being, Pagan is just killing it. Now, here's the deal. I just wanted to talk about Pagan directly because Pagan, there's always a guy or two every year that saves 27 games or whatever that no one was expecting. Ryan Walker came on, was dominant. He only had 10 saves last year, but he was dominant down the stretch and ended the season as the closer, obviously, for the Giants this year. So there's always these guys that come out of nowhere. And Pagan did have 20 saves back in 2019. But look at his track record. His track record is one of overall spottiness. He has 41 career saves and 33 blown saves. Yeesh. Even with the success he's having this year, he's got a 4% walk rate. He has never at any point in his career been that guy. He's basically been league average with the walk rate. 4% is a really good number. It's hard to envision him holding on to that. His batting average on balls in play is 65. Not 650, 65. If he is the luckiest pitcher of all time, I mean, just look back at 2020, the number was 196. There are beatings coming for Pagan. There's rough outings coming for Pagan. Even with the success he's had this season, he's allowed 3 home runs in 14 innings. His career home run per 9 mark is 1.6. The number's 1.9 right now. If you have Pagan, it's free money, okay? But an 80% fly ball rate, a 4% walk rate, and a 65% batting average of balls in play, it's harder to live on the edge more harshly or strongly than Pagan right now is. His fingernails are holding on for dear life, and sooner or later those fingernails are going to pull out, they're going to break, and he's going to fall. So be very cautious with thinking you've got the 9th inning solved if you've got Emilio Pagan on your team. 2 quick starter notes before we talk to Armando. Nick Martinez, who was the under-the-radar pitcher yesterday on the Rays Plays DFS article over at FG. Click that subscribe tab in the top right corner to get signed up if you want. Support at fantasyguru.com. He was the under-the-radar guy to pitch yesterday in terms of price point. Allowed 1 run in 6 innings in the victory over the Cardinals, so he paid off there. He's a streamer. And again, facing the Nationals next time out, okay, right? He's a streamer in that option, in that matchup, excuse me. Don't go over the top based on yesterday's effort, but he can be utilized against the Nationals. And then finally, Tomoyuki Sugano, who somehow, some way, struck out 8 Yankees yesterday, was very good. 5 shutout innings, 8 strikeouts. He's facing the Royals next. That's not a great matchup. Realize that even with that strong effort yesterday, he still has 17 strikeouts in 33 innings, which is really bad, really bad. When you don't miss bats, you're just open up for beatings. He's done a very good job of missing the barrel most often to date. He's been effective, 3 ERA, 1.15 WHIP. But this is danger zone territory. Don't just immediately run out and grab Sugano because they 8 strikeouts against the Yankees yesterday. Not a strikeout guy, not a great matchup coming up next, and so much contact that eventually it's going to catch up to the hurler of the Orioles. All right, so that's our talk about baseball. Let's talk some football here. And every Tuesday, we visit with Armando Marsal. Every Wednesday, he's back on with Justin Fensterman. On Thursdays, it's Tyler Beaker talking football. On Fridays, it's Russell Clay talking football. All the guests coming on about 12:30-ish. So I look like I robbed Armando like of a minute and a half today. So I'll stop talking, and we'll bring him in. Armando Marsal of FantasyGuru.com. How you doing, Armando?
I'm doing good, Ray. How about yourself?
Good. Yeah, I just rambled on, Armando. Sorry.
Listen, I enjoy the baseball talk. I'm listening there. I'm taking notes. I do have a team. It's okay. It's doing okay so far. We're coasting. What are your thoughts? The first week of the season for our fantasy league, it was, I think, the 3 days. It was 3-4 days max. They counted that. Should it have been the 3-4 days?
In my opinion, any game that is played should count. Right, that's how I look at it. Now, you're in a roto league or you're in a head-to-head league?
It's a head-to-head category league. Now, my question is, would they have been better if that first week counted those first 3-4 games plus the following week?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. In a roto league, it doesn't matter. They just count because they're regular games. In a head-to-head league, that's definitely not a long enough week. The Cubs and the Dodgers played in Japan. So that should have just carried over to the first week of the head-to-head. So if it didn't, your league screwed you. Did you win the week one or lose week one? It sounds like you lost week one.
It was really bad, Ray. It was really bad.
Well, I mean,
I only won 2 categories.
Well, I mean, you probably had one guy playing, right?
Like I had one pitcher. Yeah, I lost every pitching category. I had one pitcher.
Yeah, and that's something, and it's too late now to change that in baseball. But for those of you in football, make sure that the rules are all in place and you no one reads the rules. No one reads the setup until week one and it's already happening. And then people are like, oh God. Right, Armando? Shouldn't everyone read the rules? Just even if it's cursory, make sure you give it a look.
That's the number one step of every fan. Forget football, every fantasy league. That is the number one step before you say yes. Before you agree to join in the league, read the rules. Like I always say, someone asks me, "Hey, you want to join my fantasy league?" Like, can you send me over the roster settings and your kind of league rules and stuff like that before I commit? But yeah, I just wanted to ask you that because I never did ask you. I wanted your opinion because you know baseball obviously much more than I do. So. You
were right. It should have counted as a larger. It should not have been a solo.
All right, we're climbing back up the standings.
Okay, there you go.
Season. We're not panicking.
No, it's still April. You got plenty of time, Armando. Armando Marsal at FantasyGuru.com. You can find this show, Fantasy Sports Daily, and Armando's show, Minder Marsal. If you go to FantasyGuru.com, click the Elite Plus tab at the top of the page. You can find, again, both these shows as well as the others that we have, the Race Guru Thunder Hour, or Jeff McMahon's show. I think Justin Fensterman's basketball diaries are up there. Click that Elite Plus tab at the top of the page. Some football talk with you, Armando, which is normally why we have you here. Obviously, the draft is completed. Lots of analysis all over the place. First chance for you to talk to our audience about it here on the show. What was the biggest surprise pick to you? What pick was either early, late? Who stood out as something like, wow, I'm kind of surprised by that to you?
I was surprised when the Browns took Dylan Gabriel. I really was. I mean, that surprised me. Sanders is still on the board. I know, look, I wasn't big on Sanders, but at that point, I think I would have taken Sanders over Gabriel there. That was surprising to me. And that was really, there was a lot of surprise picks. I think, you can make a case for there's a lot of reaches, a lot of players that kind of fell due to either off the field issues, injury concerns. But to me, I feel like that was very surprising given that it was a major team need. And then I felt like there were other options better than Gabriel there.
And that's something I know you're involved too. People sending us all questions in the Discord over at fantasyguru.com. Just something to point out. You mentioned that the NFL teams did things that we didn't expect, right? They made selections we didn't expect, up, down, that kind of thing. People trying to figure it all out when they're doing their rookie drafts. I see people, I'm going to trade this pick for this pick. I'm going to take this guy at 6. I'm going to take this guy at 8. I think that's all craziness because you never know what the hell people are going to do in a draft. Hell, we don't even know what the NFL teams are going to do in a draft, Armando. You find yourself kind of battling users saying, hey, let's pull back and let's not create a plan that probably isn't going to come together at draft day?
Yeah, and values change. And we're going to talk a little bit about that here, but values change tremendously for some of these players before the draft, they were rated high, all the qualities. But when you step into a position where you're not going to get a ton of opportunities, you can't really score fantasy points. And I think that that's a big thing. And there's a couple of receivers that we'll talk about later that I liked going in there. I know that a lot of analysis was positive, but they've fallen in a situation where opportunities might not be easy to come by, at least early on in their career. So I think that changes everything. So, yeah, I like the idea of having some type of plan every time, for these dynasty leagues. But I would be more of a positional type of plan instead of an exact player, like this exact player. Be mindful. Look for a position. Maybe a receiver that you didn't think was going to be in a great spot landed in a great spot. So I like the idea of waiting, right? Just like when there's picks involved, like, let's say we have a question now. I answer it here, and I answered it in the Discord. But for perspective, like the 1.06 and a 4th round pick of a rookie draft for Garrett Wilson. You know what? I'm going to take the Garrett Wilson, who's a proven player. You might be giving up a little bit with that extra, 4th round, but you're at the end of the day throwing a dart. In these rookie only 4th rounds, you're throwing darts a lot of the time. The hit rate is very small. So I rather get the proven player, the player I know is going to produce at the next level. We've already seen it. We've seen it with subpar quarterback play. And this year, there's a solid quarterback for Garrett Wilson there. So that's how I view these picks, with the rookie onlys.
Armando Marsal of FantasyGuru.com. Which team had the best draft to you? Which team stood out and you're like, you know what? I kind of like what they did there.
I'm going to name you 3 teams I like, and I'll dive into one in particular that I like the most. I think the Ravens did a very good job. They really took what the draft gave them. I think that this to me is a front office that knows what they're doing, and they've been doing it for years. They just take the values. They beefed up that defense, and I like what they did. The Cowboys, I think, had a pretty good draft. I know there's some saying that 1st round pick was somewhat of a reach, but they took a major position of need there. I think protecting Dak Prescott makes a lot of sense. They also added a running back in the draft as well there, who I think is going to be a good fit. And then the Giants, for me, man, like I really like what they did. They took what, in my opinion, is one of very few blue chip players in this draft in Carter in that 1st round. It's really a truly game-changing player for the defensive side. Then they went and they traded up to get Dart. I love that move. I thought Dart was the best quarterback in this draft class. I think they're thinking about the future here. You got someone that throws the deep ball very, very accurate, and you have Malik Nabers as your receiver. Like, now you have someone that can throw that deep ball accurate, and one of the best receivers, young receivers in the game right now. I think we saw that last year. They added, they also added a running back in the 4th round, the Arizona State guy. I think that was a good addition here for this backfield. They added some more defensive line. They beefed up the offensive line. They added a tight end. Like, I like what they've done here. I would give this team an A with their draft. So I really like what the Giants did, and I think this front office knows that that they might be on the hot seat, right? Their time here might not be too long. So they're swinging for the fences. So I really like this draft for the Giants here.
Who bombed, Armando? Who made some picks and you're like, oh boy, what the hell were they drinking when they made those selections?
I think we have to say this. So I like the Saints that first. I think people think Banks is a reach. I don't. I saw him as a top 10, top 12 player. Okay. But after that, boy, the Saints for me, like I didn't like the quarterback pick there at number 2. They just, I didn't like how they drafted. I don't think that they, this is a team that had a lot of holes. I still think they have a lot of holes. And I think they could have done a better draft given the way that things played out. They had really good draft capital, and I just don't think they made the best use of that draft capital. For me, the Saints is one of those teams that, and the 49ers, to be honest, I was very surprised at their draft. Did you like it? Did you think they did a good job?
I mean, I think they did okay, but I was surprised. I was talking with my nephew about it. Defense. And again, they bled players this offseason, but it's like, I don't know. I mean, you lose Deebo Samuel. You don't have Brandon Ayuk. Kittle's not young, and I know that Pearsall showed some things like that. I'm kind of surprised they didn't target skill position offensive a little bit more, offensive line a little bit more, to be fair, because Trent Williams, it was defense city. So, yeah, I get what you're saying.
That's the only. It's not the players, but it's like that. Like they waited to the 4th, I think, or it was the 4th or 5th to take the receiver, and then and the running back in the very next round. And then, like you mentioned, they focused heavily on defense. Yeah, they could use help on the defensive side, but man, I think they lost so much offensively. You mentioned, beefing up the O-line, the backfield, with McCaffrey. Yes, they have players, but still, I mean, I think they could have done focused a little bit more on offense, I think, because I do think that there are some concerns there offensively for the 49ers.
Armando Marsal, fantasyguru.com. Best player fit. Who ended up in the perfect spot? And you're saying to yourself, this might have been a guy that you were kind of so on, a week and a half ago, but now you're like, yeah, I like the way this looks for this player because he landed in a great spot given his skills.
Ashton Genty, baby. Like, we have to, right? Like, you're going to Pete Carroll's system there. You know what you're going to get. Like, he's going to get all the opportunities. When you really start looking at the Raiders, the offensive line is a very solid offensive line, right? You have other pieces. So, like, it's not like they can stack 8 in the box completely on you. You have a veteran quarterback in Geno Smith. You have Brock Bowers, who, I mean, I think we can all agree he's an elite tight end based on that first-year performance. Myers is not the guy, but they have pieces here, so they can't really focus. I think Genty's going to be just such a big part of this offense. So I think this is a great landing spot because we know the opportunities should be there immediately, right? And I think that it's very chalky, or whatnot. But I just, when you look at it, I saw Jeff's rankings. He's, I think, number 3 or 4 in his rankings at the running back position. It's hard to argue that, right? Because that I think there's a minimum of 300 opportunities for a rookie running back right here. And for me, that's just the best fit and the best running back landing spot as well. Just phenomenal there.
So here's a peek behind the curtain. I basically say, hey, Armando, this is what I want to talk about. Here are some questions. And then I don't know what he's going to say, right? So I don't know when I ask you who the worst player fit's going to be. I have no idea what your answer is going to be to this. I'm wondering if it's Hunter. And again, I'm on the outside here, but making a trade, trading all this draft capital the Jaguars did to take Hunter, to apparently make him a wide receiver. I don't know if only, but a wide receiver. The wide receiver 2, you got Brian Thomas, who's a star. To me, that was weird. And I'm not saying that was the worst player fit by any means, but that's something that popped to me that was strange. Who do you, though, think is the worst fit amongst these early drafters in the NFL?
So I would be surprised if they make Hunter a wide receiver first. I think this is good.
Isn't that what the reporting says?
I would be. Yeah, there's reports out there that suggest that. Yeah. Correct. You're not wrong. Right. But I would be stunned, like if they gave up, all of that to make him a wide receiver first. I think they're going to utilize him as in my opinion, they should utilize him as a corner first, right, and then have obviously some plays for him offensively, right, maybe. In crucial situation, red zone, maybe 2-minute drills, in the fourth quarter when you need someone to make some plays, maybe sure. But I don't see him playing. You can't 100 snaps a game. You can't right. I don't. Especially in Jacksonville, right, where it's 3,000 degrees. Yeah, exactly. Especially at the beginning of the season, it's going to be very difficult. It's hot here in Florida in September. So I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be a corner. But for me, we talked about opportunities, right? And Luther Burton, going to the Bears. I just think that his profile is really good. But when you look at it, you look at this receiving group, you have Oduze, you have Moore. They took a first-round pick on Loveland. They have the tight end there as well. I think this is just a bad fit. I don't think this is a good fit. I think this is, unfortunately, for Burton, someone who their expectations might have been high. I think this is a perfect example of what we talked about a little while ago, where you might have been drafting him with a top 6-7 pick in your rookie-only draft, and now you might want to reconsider that. Maybe the back end of the first, maybe front end of the second, because it's just a crowded situation. And it's not like it's a crowded with old receivers. There's some young receivers here in Chicago.
Armando Marsal, fantasyguru.com. A follow-up, by the way, going back to Hunter. There is a debate, and there will be a debate, right? Because football doesn't have a lot of two-way guys, right? In baseball, there's Ohtani who pitches and hits. Some leagues, he's one player. Some leagues, he's two players. With Hunter, should he be two players or one player? If you're in an IDP league, should you just get all his offense and all his defense, or should there be two Hunters available to draft? It's a tough one.
That is very difficult. You know what? I haven't thought about that. I haven't given that thought. And quick answer, I would say you have him as a receiver and an IDP, like a cornerback, right? But that would only be in those leagues that you're doing two. Now, maybe give the option of starting in one or the other and not getting both stats. I think maybe that would be the way to go, right? Where if you're occupying your wide receiver slot with him, you're only getting wide receiver, stats. If you're using an IDP slot on him, you're not getting the receiving stats for that game. I think maybe that would be a fair way to do it. I think it would be a little bit unfair if you flex him and you're getting all of that. And I think that could be an issue that a lot of people encounter. If I'm the commissioner of the league,
read your rules.
Yeah, exactly. If I'm the commissioner of the league, I'm gonna we do have an IDP flex, so this is going to happen in my league. I'm gonna have to think about this, but I think the right way to do this, and it depends on how it also depends on how the platform has them, right?
Absolutely.
Like the platforms might not have them as a corner or a wide receiver, so you might not have that option. But I think one or the other would be the fair way to do it, Ray. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I'm seeing it as right now. I'll give more thought. I'll give it more thought, though. Yeah. That's a great question.
Oh, well, thank you, Armando. Armando Marsal of FantasyGuru.com. You mentioned Gentry to the Raiders. Is that your favorite running back landing spot, or someone else the answer to that question of the best running back landing spot?
It's really him. Unfortunately, I was trying to look for a second one. So I think that the Arizona State back that went to the Giants, I think there's going to be some opportunities for him there too, early on. I think it'll be a committee, but I still think he'll be involved. But it has to be Gentry. Like Gentry he was someone that I think a lot of people had in their maybe top 12, top 15, before the draft. Right. I think he's a first-round running back. That's how significant his draft stock went up for me in the landing spot. So it's hard to argue anyone else besides him.
And you're talking about in a redraft scenario.
Yes, I'm talking about he's the number one overall pick in any dynasty, in my opinion. Whether it's tight end premium or two quarterbacks, super flex, whatever kind of dynasty you're in, Gentry is the number one guy in my opinion in rookie-only drafts.
Wide receiver spot, what's the best one there? And we know how this goes with young. Sometimes it's the guy we expect, but no one thought there was a Jamar Chase or Malik Neighbors in this draft class, right? So who ended up in the best spot to be a significant contributor in 2025?
So I think you can make a good case for two guys. So one guy, Jaden Higgins, and then my favorite, Ted McLaurin. McMillan. Sorry, not McLaurin. I'm thinking of Terry McLaurin. Sorry, but McMillan here with Carolina. I go back to what Bob Harris always says is you don't have to have a great quarterback to get good production from the wide receiver. And I'm going to take away I'm not a young guy. I don't think he's a good quarterback, but McMillan, I do think is a good receiver. I think he's a perfect fit. He's that big receiver that they need, that alpha. I think they've kind of taken shots in several drafts. They've missed on a lot of these guys. I think they're going to hit on McMillan. I think he's going to step in to a solidified role right off the bat. He has his size. He has he checks off a lot of the boxes. A good, pretty much could run any route. I think this is a great fit. I think, I think when you look at McMillan here, I think he's going to get opportunities right away. And then as far as Higgins is concerned, I like this. It's a compliment to Nico Collins. He's maybe not as fast as Nico Collins here, but I do think that there's going to be some opportunities. He's 6'5", big receiver here. Good offense. I think this is I think he's going to have immediate fantasy value right off the bat here for the Texans.
Armando, I don't know what's going on with the Steelers. Okay. Their quarterback is Mason Rudolph. There was already all the problems and concerns about this team only winning 10 games and making the playoffs and not doing anything. There were people wanting to get rid of Mike Tomlin, all this kind of stuff. And the answer is Mason Rudolph. Is this Aaron Rodgers or this season's over? Can they make the playoffs with Mason Rudolph? What is this organization doing right now at the quarterback spot?
They cannot make the playoffs with Mason. I don't think they can make the playoffs with Mason. I'll tell you this. I would not put my money on it, right? That's the thing. I really hope that Aaron Rodgers ends up signing with them. I think that
they kind of painted themselves into a corner here, didn't they? Like they don't really have any
all the leverage.
options.
I think he has the leverage now, right? Like,
yeah.
Like he can be very, very picky, I guess you could say, right, with what his decision making process is going to be here. But I ultimately think that that's where they end up with Rodgers. If they want to compete, you look at that division. You don't have a competent quarterback. I don't see you competing there. The Browns are the Browns, but you still got the Ravens, you still got the Bengals. It's a tough division. And I think that the defense, as good as it is, it could only take them so far, right? Given the quarterback play. Like, if you get a lot of 3 and outs and your defense is on the field a lot, as good as they are, they're eventually going to get gassed, right? And I think that's something you have to consider. So I think that they're putting all their eggs in the Aaron Rodgers basket, and it's just not a sure thing right now. So it's a situation to really monitor closely. But this could be one of those things where you're going to wait until pretty much close to the start of the season, because I could see Rodgers dragging this out as long as he really wants to. It's the summertime. It's when he goes in these black holes, caves, he gets lost, goes into the third dimension, like all that kind of stuff. Listen, it's Aaron Rodgers' world, and we're just living in it right now. So we just got to sit and wait.
Armando Marsal of FantasyGuru.com. Chris Olave, going back to the Saints, we talked about not really knowing what the plan is. You were not impressed by their draft. I understand, but I don't. The almost incessant questions I'm getting on Chris Olave in the Discord over at FantasyGuru.com. It's like almost every other day. There's someone. And my answer, I think, is similar to yours, but I wanted to get your take here on the show. We don't know. If Chris Olave is healthy, he's getting 130 targets. He's catching 85 passes for 1,100 yards. He's had, 5 official concussions? It's probably more than that. What's his value in a dynasty or keeper league? I'm just not interested. I don't, I think at some point you have to put your foot down. And when you've had 5 concussions, I'm out. Like, that's the guy but everyone, they're trying to get the deal, Armando. Well, what if he stays healthy? Talk us through the Chris Olave situation.
So there's multiple ways to look at this, right? Like, we have different points of views here. So we could look at it as you have Olave on your roster. What do you want to do with him? You're probably not going to get the value you're hoping to get for Olave at this point, right? Given the injury history, given the, some of the subpar seasons because of the injuries, like the disappointments because of the injuries, all of that stuff, right? So you're probably at this point got to see it through. You're trying to trade for Olave. You are probably not going to want to give up what the manager wants. I would not want to pay more, or I wouldn't want to overpay for someone like Olave right now. Like, if I'm buying, I'm trying to buy dirt cheap. It's going to be an offer that it's probably going to insult the other owner. Like, that's kind of the offer I'm probably willing to make, and I don't like making those offers. So I'm with you. I'm not in the business of buying Olave right now unless it's absolutely free. Like, if I say, hey, I'll give you a 5th round rookie pick for Olave, sure, I'll do it. Like, yeah, okay, why not? If you are going to take a shot, and if you are going to, give up something of like maybe a second or pair of picks or whatnot, then you have to understand the risk reward factor of it. Is it worth the risk that you're taking? Because like you said, there's 5 maybe documented concussions. Usually with these players that have 5 documented concussions, there's probably a lot more, right? Like, that we don't know about. And one more could be a lengthy absence. One more could be career ending. We really don't know with these players. These head injuries are serious and they need to be taken serious. And I think the NFL has done a good job about that recently. So if you're willing to take that risk, sure. I'm not in the business of doing so. I'd rather take a shot at, a higher upside play, maybe, look at some of the rookies and say, it doesn't have that risk of the injury right now. I don't have that risk. And unless you're in a position to take that risk or you want to take that risk, I don't see the point in doing so. If healthy, though, Ray, I view him as a low-end wide receiver 2, high-end wide receiver 3 right now, like, it's, as things stands. But I don't know if I want to take that kind of risk.
The Browns are taking a risk because when you have 4 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks, right? It's like they've got Flacco, Pickett, Gabriel, and Sanders. It's almost certainly going to be Flacco or Pickett in week 1, and then we'll see. they signed Diontae Johnson. You look at the receiving core, not overly impressive. Cedric Tillman needs to stay healthy and prove it. Jerry Jeudy stepped forward last year. Okay. Diontae is at worst, seemingly the third wide receiving option at worst. Maybe he's the number 2 guy. But his season last year was an utter disaster. We don't know who's throwing the football. What are your thoughts with Diontae Johnson to the Browns?
Oh, Ray, this is I don't see myself investing all that much in the Browns in general this season. I think there's a lot of question marks. I just don't like this landing spot. Like, you're coming off like you mentioned, a poor season, and then now you're stepping into a very uncertain situation. We don't know who's going to be throwing the ball, like you said. We don't know who is going to become the off. I still think Judy's their guy. I still put Tillman ahead of Johnson here as well, So for me, I don't know if there's going to be opportunities. This is a team that historically it likes to run the football. I would expect them to continue to try to run the football here. This is just probably one of the worst landing spots for Johnson in the NFL. So I'm not optimistic. I try to be optimistic about things, Ray, but I'm not quite optimistic about Diontae Johnson in 2025.
Understandable, Armando. I just had to ask.
I know. We do have to talk about these things sometimes.
Armando Marsal at fantasyguru.com. So catch more of Armando's work. Obviously, what's up on the horizon for your football coverage here, short term?
We have the staff post-draft rookie rankings coming up here in the next couple of days. Those will be up. By the Marsal podcast, I'm planning on doing a reaction to the NFL draft later this week there. So that'll be up. And you'll catch me on Discord. I'm answering questions, dynasty and stuff like that. We got a lot of other things coming up soon. We got the draft guide. It's not right around the corner, but it's not too far away. Right. A couple of months away. So there'll be a lot of planning and content planning. If there's anything actually that you guys want us to cover, so reach out. Maybe we could get that in as well. That we could put on the site. But yeah, we got a lot of football content coming up with that draft guide and things like that there.
Obviously, you can go to Discord, hit a note up
from
Armando, the whole staff, send a note to support@fantasyguru.com. Support@fantasyguru.com. You can sign up for any of the products over at FG. You can see the link there on the screen right now. Click that subscribe tab in the top right corner. Get the seasonal football package, get the franchise mode, the off-season package, baseball. We got it all up there. We're still covering basketball, which Armando's a part of. We're still covering hockey over at the site. So a lot of things going on there at fantasyguru.com. We normally do a pack of cards. I didn't ask you today if you've got one. You've been coming through, Armando. You do? Yeah, you want to do it?
It's your show, sir. Your show. If you want it, let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. What do we got here today, Armando?
All right. Hold up. We got to remove the background here. Okay. Virtual background. We got nothing. All right. So I got the Donruss baseball here. Let me see the year. You know what? It doesn't give me the year. Okay, it's 1988 Diamond King. It has the Diamond King print and stuff like that. So there you go, 1988.
1988 Donruss. Look at that. All right.
Yeah. So we got that going on. And see what we got here.
Have you ever bought a pack, Armando, that you felt had been opened and resealed?
This one just felt like that, actually.
Really?
For being honest, it just all jokes aside, like it just peeled off so easily. Like it's either that or the glue has
died.
the glue is about what 40 years old, almost 40.
But that is a thing now, right? People have to be very careful when they're buying packs because unscrupulous people are repackaging stuff now, right?
Yeah. It unfortunately is. My son, I don't have it with me, unfortunately, but I'll bring it next show. My son actually got for Easter, he got some baseball card. It's not but he got a Ted Williams card. Pretty cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'll bring it next week. I forgot. Right. And don't worry, there won't be any Armando pictures today here.
No 8x10s?
No 8x10s. Okay. No 8x10s. All right. So the first one we got here is Terry McGriff.
I don't remember Terry McGriff. Obviously, Fred McGriff. Terry
McGriff. I don't know who
that Nike sweatshirt you're wearing would go right there with the color scheme.
Look at that.
Yeah.
There you go.
I don't remember Terry McGriff. Gotta be honest.
He was a catcher.
Probably why I don't remember him.
I don't know who this guy is, but I'm going to tell you this: the mustache. This is one of those 80s mustache right here, right?
Yeah, all
right. Rich Gossage, I think.
Oh, you might know him as Goose Gossage.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hall of Fame reliever. Yeah. Goose Gossage was one of the first closers, and he was one of those guys that, now you throw 18 pitches and you get 3 outs. Goose would go multiple innings sometimes. But yeah, Goose Gossage, as he's more widely known. But that is a hell of a stash. Totally
that is. And I also love that Padres uniform. That
old school
hat too. Yeah, I love that hat too.
Copied the Giants, but yeah, it's good. It's good. That totally copies the Giants. Like they just changed the color a little bit, but yeah,
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. All right, you're not wrong. They're really getting me here today. Mike
Lavelle. Mike Lavelle. Yeah.
Wow. Is it?
Yeah. Catcher, and he was a little. He's that prototypical short, kind of pudgy catcher that didn't have any power and kind of slapped the ball around, was around because he was a good defensive player. He had a decent career. Yeah,
Okay. All right, we got another stash here.
Okay. We've been getting a lot of these
catchers. We got Bob Brenly. That's your guy.
Bob Brenly, interestingly enough, Bob Brenly actually, I used to live in Foster City, which is a suburb of San Francisco, and it's about 18 miles from where the Giants played at Candlestick. Bob Brenly one year was my neighbor. He lived in our community. It might have been for 2 years. So he lived down the street, kind of around the corner in the cul-de-sac. And he's famous for having a game where I believe he had, I want to say 4 errors in the game, and then hit a game-winning home run at the end after committing 4 errors and having like the worst day in the history of baseball. And then he's an announcer. He's been an announcer for 30 years ever since.
There you go.
Yeah.
I see here he broke Mike Schmidt's school record for home runs at Ohio University.
That's pretty surprising since Mike Schmidt might be the best third baseman of all time, right?
So, and he led the Giants in home runs in '85.
Bob Brenly.
Yeah. There you go.
4-error game.
I did say anything on the card about that. Maybe Don was just trying to be nice.
Maybe right. Yeah, he did have 4 errors. It was September 14th, 1986. He made 4 errors in Armando in 1 inning.
Oof.
But then he won the game with a walk-off home run in the bottom of the ninth. So there you go.
Oh, there you go. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
Now we got another stash here. Ken Oberkfell.
Ken Oberkfell, kind of that portly catcher, but a second baseman. Yeah, he was another one of these.
Catcher.
You look at him and he looks like a dude that should be hitting 25 home runs, right? Playing in the softball league or something. No, he'd hit like 3 home runs.
First baseman or catcher.
Yeah, but no, he's a second baseman that would hit 3 home runs. He was not. He probably played for a decade, but he wasn't a big offensive threat.
We got Paul Nose.
Paul Nochi, I guess. I don't remember Paul Nochi. Let's look at Paul Nochi real quick.
That's an '80s haircut, right?
Totally the '80s haircut. Yeah. Oh, the funny thing, I'm looking at baseballreference.com.
Is that the picture?
His photo is from this card. Absolutely. 100%. 100%.
That's amazing.
He was actually born in San Francisco. He was drafted by the Padres in 1978, but didn't sign. Sequoia High School. He lived down the street here for me. Okay. Went back to school and then got drafted by the Padres a second time in the 14th round. And in the entirety of his career, he had a total of 413 at-bats.
Yeah.
No, I'm counting wrong. 181 at-bats. 181 at-bats, Armando. He didn't make it.
No, he did not.
Good for him.
We got Jesse Orozco.
Jesse Orozco, who at one point in time, I believe, held the all-time record for appearances by a pitcher. I think he has over 1,000. Yeah, 12. He still does. 1,252 appearances, the all-time record. He had a 24-year career, Armando.
Really?
He basically became the loogie, the left-handed reliever they'd only call in to face lefties toward the end of his career. But he had a season of 30 saves as well. But yeah, 1,252 games, all-time record.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
I wonder what he was throwing there. It looks like he was about to throw a nice little slider.
Yeah, he was a little more of a junker baller. He was not a fireballer.
Yeah, it looks like it was a little slather coming there. We got Scott Bankhead, another stash.
I don't remember Scott. I don't remember the stash. That glove is looking like a Rawlings.
Yeah.
We talked about that finger in or finger out. You were a finger in guy, right? If I remember right? Yeah. I never liked those gloves that had just the hole for your finger. Even if you're going to put your finger out, you need just the open palm, right? Or open back of your hand, not the stupid one little finger thing.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. I've seen. I don't think. Do they still make? I haven't seen those.
I don't think they probably, I would say no. Yeah.
I haven't seen those, but yeah, that is it's not my style right there.
Yeah. Okay.
But what do you think about those uniforms?
I mean, they're okay. I know that Kyle Frank, my former co-host, his favorite hat he ever had is the Trident. So the logo, on the hat. He was always a Mariners fan. I don't mind the color scheme. It was different. They were the pilots, and they're that kind of thing. It's okay. Yeah. Kind of softball-y, but it's okay.
As Larry David would say, Gene Larkin.
Gene Larkin was a shortstop. Catcher. I'm trying to remember Gene Larkin. Who was the thing? I was thinking Barry Larkin. That's right.
For whatever reason, I just get the impression he used to smoke cigarettes in the dugout. It's kind of what it looks like right there,
Gene Larkin was 6'3", 195, first base designated hitter, drafted in the 20th round by the Twins. He has some no glare here on this photo on Baseball Reference. His career high was 8 home runs and 70 RBIs in his first full season, and it was all downhill from there, Armando. He had a 348 career on base percentage. That's pretty good.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, too bad his slugging percentage was 374. But
now this guy looks like he mashed the baseball. Jesse Barfield.
He did mash the baseball. He was with George Bell. We had a George Bell card a couple weeks ago, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Barfield was a guy that would routinely hit 25 home runs. He was a right fielder who had a cannon of an arm. So he was a very upright, tall guy. He had a little bit of an afro, and he would stay out there and gun guys down when they try to run around the bases. He had a career best of 40 home runs. Led the league in home runs in 1986. But he and George Bell were a pretty good duo there in the late 80s for that team.
Yeah, I see that here. 40 home runs. He had 27, 28, 40. Yeah.
Fifth in MVP vote, won a Gold Glove that year too.
I mean, he batted pretty solid for average. 284 and 84, 289, 85, and 289, 86. I mean, that's pretty good.
Yep. 2 top 10 MVP finishes in that time.
Yeah. We got now Dave Leiper. Don't know who that is.
I don't remember Dave Leiper, but that's pictures at Candlestick with the Padres Stolen Giants uniform. Makes sense that they take the picture at Candlestick.
We got Steve Lombardozzi.
This is a twin pack, man. This is like our third twin, right? Kind of
nondescript. Watch is coming next.
Oh man, another twin. Okay, go ahead. Another nondescript player, Lombardozzi.
I think so.
Yeah.
We have the Diamond Kings, Gary Gaetti.
Jesus, the twins pack. Gary Gaetti was a really good ball player. He routinely 25, 30 home runs, driving in 80 runs. Kind of waddled a little bit. He didn't seem like the most athletic guy, but he was a very productive player. Yeah, there you go.
He was a Gold Glover for what I'm seeing here.
Yeah, he's a good player.
All right, we got Jim Gott.
Jim Gott was around for a while. Look at Jim Gott. Jim Gott looks like he needs. Is that mustache kind of coming in there, or is it just the picture? Like a light mustache, or is that just his?
Nah, it's a picture. It's a picture.
Okay. He's happy though.
He does. He looks happy.
Happy to be on a baseball card.
And we got Dave Anderson. Not a mustache either. I thought it was for a second, but no.
No, Dave Anderson. Look at Dave Anderson. Dave Anderson, I don't know this, but I bet he's somewhere with a fungo bat right now, Armando. That's my guess.
Yeah.
Hitting some fly balls.
Nothing like a fungo bat. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's coach speak right there.
Yeah.
And then we got a piece of a puzzle right here. It's Stan Musial.
Yeah, Stan Musial. Yeah.
Yeah, or Musial, sorry.
Musial. Yeah, Hall of Famer, one of the 5 greatest left-handed hitters of all time, maybe. Tremendous player. He used to stand with his feet really close together in the back of the box and kind of hunch over, and then he just glide to the baseball and hit 300 every year and 30 home runs and on his way to the Hall of Fame. But yeah, that's a pretty good pack. Too many twins.
Not bad. But,
not
bad.
Something to talk about.
Yeah.
For more of this, Armando Marsal joins us every Tuesday at about 12:30 Eastern time. We usually get to opening a pack up. He bought I don't know, was it 50 packs? How many packs did you buy?
Yeah, it was close to that. It was about 50, but
random.
The kids have gotten subs. So.
Do you have any left? Are we almost out?
I have a few. We're almost there. There. We got a couple more weeks. But don't worry. Yeah, there'll be more. There'll be more ordered soon.
All right, good. We'll have Armando on back again next week on Tuesday at 12:30 Eastern. We'll talk football with him, and then we'll open a pack. He'll be on tomorrow, I assume, with Justin Fensterman about 12:30 Eastern time as well.
Yes,
Armando.
I'll be on tomorrow with Justin. Yeah.
Okay. So Armando's everywhere there. He's look for his Mind of Marsal podcast. Click that Elite Plus tab at the top of the page. That usually comes out Fridays, Armando?
Yep. Fridays. What I've been doing is working around the guests, but yeah, Fridays late in the weeks are usually when I post them there. So look out this weekend or this week for the new episode there on Friday.
And every Tuesday night, there's the live stream at 7:00 Eastern time, and I assume you'll be on that again tonight.
Yeah, tonight I won't be. I've been on it the last several weeks. Tonight, unfortunately, won't be. My son's baseball team advanced to the second round of the playoffs, so I'll be watching that baseball game tonight.
Okay, well, go son.
Yes,
the rest of the crew will still be there at 7:00 Eastern time.
Yes,
is your son pitching tonight, or is he just in the field?
No. He can't pitch until next week. We had a tournament this weekend, and he pitched 4 innings, 62 pitches on Sunday. So I told him, you're off for about almost 2 weeks. I protect all the kids' arms in our team, so anyone that pitched this weekend is not getting too much action early this week. So,
well, good luck to the little guys tonight.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
We'll get an update next week.
So let's see what happens.
Yeah,
we beat the number 2 seed yesterday. Now we got to go through the number 1 seed.
All right, let's go. Make it happen. Underdog. Let's do it. Armando, thanks for your time today. We'll talk to you next week. We appreciate the visit.
Yep. Thank you for having me on. Have a great day, everyone.
You got it. He's Armando Marsal. I'm Ray Flowers. Head over to fantasyguru.com. Click that subscribe tab in the top right corner. We've got hockey coverage, basketball coverage, baseball coverage, football coverage, all of it going right now. Click that subscribe tab or send a note to support@fantasyguru.com to become part of Elite Mafia, the largest active community in fantasy sports. For Armando, I'm Ray. This has been Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by fantasyguru.com.